Okay, Kat, would you like to go ahead and give us your presentation on the phonology?
Yes, I have chosen an activity that focuses on the pronunciation of the ed ending on past tense regular verbs. And the reason why I went for this language point was that, first of all, I have noticed that Spanish students tend to always pronounce it as ed, what with Spanish being a phonetic language. And also, this is a very frequently used language point, and it appears as early as elementary level, and I've noticed that Spanish students tend to have problems with pronunciation, even at advanced levels. What I did, basically, was I introduced a series of regular verbs in the past tense in a story, so that they would have a context for the language point. We discussed the story about this couple that met via a phone-in program on the radio in Australia. And after we clarified the meaning, we discussed the ideas, and they basically said whether they would do something like this or not. They received cards with the same regular verbs from the story, and I asked them to categorize them in two groups based on their pronunciation. I didn't give them a more precise criterion. They had to talk to each other and try the pronunciation out so that they would find the criterion themselves. And after they finished, I elicited the possible endings. They were able to, with a little guidance, they were able to come up with t, d, and id. And then I gave them the two endings, t and d, together, and also id. They regrouped all the verbs on the board, and then I focused them on the pronunciation through a series of drills, choral, in pairs, individual, and whisper drills. And I pointed out the fact that normally the ed ending is pronounced as t or d, and they shouldn't worry too much about which one they need to say, because it is physically difficult to get it wrong. On the other hand, they only need to pronounce id when the verb they are dealing with already ends in the sound t or d. And I made a bit of a joke of it, and I explained that it is physically impossible to say things like waited or waited. Yeah, their teeth would fly out. I made a bit of a joke of it. So then, only then, they would have to say it. Otherwise, t or d. The next step was for them to use the language point in a freer, more spontaneous manner. And what I did was group them in threes or fours. Each group received a set of cards which had the same verbs, all the verbs for each group. They went face down, and they had to choose a time in the past, for example yesterday or 3 years ago, a specific place, and 3 people in the class, 3 names from the group. And the first person had to pick up the first card, read out the verb, and start a story using the characters they had chosen, the place and the time given. The next one would pick up the next card and build up the story, so that they had a chance to pronounce the language point again and use it in a meaningful, more personalized context.
Okay, thanks very much.